So, I was watching Horton Hears a Who recently, and as I was watching it, a thought occurred. This seems awfully familiar, and it dawned upon me during a scene of this movie, this elephant is awfully like Socrates. Just look at him. So how am I gonna do this one, huh? How am I gonna pull this off? Well, just watch as I prove that Horton represents Socrates.
You blathering boob.
Alright, so Horton Hears a Who is a film adaptation of the book by Dr. Seuss. Here's a quick summary. Horton Hears a Who is about an elephant in the forest of Newell. There he teaches animal children things when suddenly he hears a high-pitched scream zoom past his large ears. He discovers that this sound belongs to a mayor of a whole entire civilization living on this speck. He captures the speck on a flower and vows to protect it. Through communicating with this speck's mayor, he becomes ostracized. Soon, a kangaroo who acts as the hierarchy of Newell captures Horton and is about to destroy the speck, when suddenly the speck creates enough noise to be heard by the animals of Newell. Okay, now who's Socrates? Socrates was a philosopher during the 5th century. He challenged his society by questioning beliefs and the meaning of words and such. His apprentice Plato documented Socrates' ideas until Socrates would inevitably be imprisoned and sentenced to death for the charge of corrupting the youth and, I think, disrespecting the gods. R.I.P. First, let's dive into the basics of why I believe Horton represents Socrates. Firstly, Horton is open to questioning the ways of things and challenging people's perspectives.
There aren't people that small.
Well, maybe they aren't small. Maybe we're big.
Horton.
No, really, think about it. What if there was someone way out there?
Also, since Horton is a teacher, the kangaroo and the rest of the forest worries that Horton may be poisoning the youth with his beliefs about the speck.
You will not breathe a word of this lie to anyone else, especially the children. I do not want you poisoning their minds with this nonsense. Our community has standards, Horton. If you want to remain a part of it, I recommend you follow them.
Socrates is guilty of corrupting the young and of not believing in the gods, in whom the city believes, but in other new spiritual things. Such is their charge.
And while they both stand on trial, Socrates understood that his society was not accepting of his philosophy, but stood by it, much as Horton does with the speck.
I cannot expect to get rid of such a mass of calumny all in a moment. And this, O men of Athens, is the truth, and the whole truth. I have concealed nothing, and yet I know that my plainness of speech makes them hate me. Hence has arisen the prejudice against me, and this is the reason for it.
He assesses the penalty of death, so be it. And what do I deserve to suffer or to pay because I have deliberately not led a quiet life but have neglected what occupies most people?
Go ahead. Rope me. Cage me. Do whatever you want. But there are people on this speck, and they have a mayor. And even though you can't hear or see them at all, a person's a person, no matter how small.
Regardless of the defense, they caged the elephant. So if Horton is Socrates, then who are the other characters? So with what Socrates says about his accusers and the apology... Okay, wait. Let's take a step back real quick. Quick summary. In Plato's 5 Dialogues, it's a book by Plato. Plato describes conversations that Socrates has during his process with the court and other stuff, I guess. Apology, Crito, Meno, and Phaedo. But as Socrates says about his accusers in the Apology, what he says about them lines up pretty well with who the kangaroo is from Horton Hears a Who.
Meletus has never been at all concerned with these matters. Nonetheless, tell us, Meletus, how you say that I corrupt the young, or is it obvious from your deposition that it is by teaching them not to believe in the gods in whom the city believes, but in other new spiritual things? And by Zeus, Meletus, tell us also whether it is better for a man to live among good or wicked fellow citizens. But I say that Meletus is guilty of dealing frivolously with serious matters, of irresponsibly bringing people into court.
Now, Morton, this little mouse dude, Seth Rogen, Horton's seemingly only companion outside of the people of the Spec, was a challenging one for me at first. I assumed he must be Plato. And I realized that if Horton is Socrates, Morton has to be Crito. To sum it up quickly, both Crito and Morton want the brilliant philosopher... want their friend to do whatever it takes to escape imprisonment and tells them not to do whatever it is they're doing. Also, if you zoom in closely, as seen in The Death of Horton... The Death of Horton! In Death of Socrates, Crito is found with his hand on lap with none other than Morton hiding under the chair. Crazy, I know. I didn't see it at first either. Because I've gotten too lazy to continue this and I want to work on other projects instead of just this one because it's been going on for too long and I've put way too much effort into editing this even though I don't have an editing software, I'm gonna speedrun the end of this. To conclude, I suppose, the Spec and the flower represent the philosophy, either the body and soul or just the general philosophy. The end. The end. Thanks. Subscribe, like, comment, do something. I don't know. Apology's nuts. Yeah, Horton, here's a who. What you gonna do? Just like Socrates, philosophy in the form of comedy. Kangaroo acting gossipy and hostily, but it's city policy. Yo, honestly, it's just a little botany. Why you acting so toxically? Let's get Morton on the mic. So dumb.